T17 Exiles, welcome to another Path of Exile 1 video. In today's video, we will be talking about the most controversial system added in Path of Exile in quite some time. And that, of course, is Tier 17 maps. Introduced back in 3.24 as a bridge between regular Tier 16s and the Atlas mapping system and Ubers, T17s were very rippy, very demanding, and incredibly divisive on release back in 3.24. Now, in the first few weeks of Necropolis League, Grinding Your Games made a variety of changes to the maps, many of them being nerfs to the difficulty of the maps, and increasing the rewards of the maps substantially. And already before those increases to rewards, Tier 17 maps were the most rewarding content in Path of Exile, bar none. And with all those tremendous buffs, now they are far more rewarding than every other content type in the game, except for high-end party farming in certain environments and selling boss kills very quickly on fast boss killers. With 3.25 Settlers of Kalguur, I know that there has to be a slew of changes incoming for Tier 17 maps. I'm pretty confident in that occurring, so I'd like to talk about all those changes here today, listing them from most drastic to least drastic and talking about my confidence levels in each of the changes. We have about 6 or 7 I'd like to talk about, and as always, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the topic in the comments below. But before we dive into each one of these topics, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel for more Path of Exile content, and make sure to hit that sub notification bell. We are on the road to 25,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I hope with your support, we'll be able to do it. Now, let's get to the changes I predict will be happening for Tier 17 maps in Path of Exile Settlers of Kalguur. Change number 1 is the most drastic, and that's Tier 17s being removed completely. Of course, I don't have high confidence in this actually happening. I give it about a 5% chance. But the response to Tier 17s was so negative, so ridiculous, that I could see Grinding Your Games removing them from the map entirely and just reworking the way that we get Uber boss fragments. Now, instead of the Uber boss fragments dropping in the Tier 17 maps for killing those new sub-Uber bosses, you would just find random keys to fight Uberlicia, or any of the Uber bosses that now prevent us from fighting those Uber regular Atlas bosses. The Tier 17 maps would be completely gone from the game, but the fights would remain. That's it. That's the big change. I give it a 5% chance of actually occurring. Change number 2, very drastic. I give it about a 25% chance of occurring, and that is Tier 17 maps no longer being affected by the Atlas skill tree. The way that Tier 17 maps interact with the Atlas skill tree is ridiculous, especially with all the extra rewards that are built into Tier 17 maps, all those implicits that you get, the more currency, more scarabs, more maps, and so on and so forth. Those are too strong, especially combined with a very particular notable on the Atlas passive skill tree, and that is the back to basics notable, which basically doesn't allow you to add any extra things to the map, but it multiplies the rewards substantially that you get from said map. It works with Tier 17s, and it's what a lot of the top farmers used in Tier 17 maps in 3.24. Like I said, I think there's a very low chance of this actually happening because the Atlas skill tree is such a substantial and fundamental part of Path of Exile's endgame, and removing it from what's supposed to be that next step up in endgame content and farming, essentially it would just feel bad, so I hope that they don't do that. I hope that they can find a different way to alter these T17 maps. And that brings me to thing number 3, and that's the rewards being bonked for Tier 17 maps, and I give this a 50% chance of happening. And I think that would solve a lot of the problems and open up the ability for us to farm in different areas and play in different areas and not feel as though we have to play T17s to progress. They've already made some changes in this regard, right? Now you can also get a 5th map device slot from doing a Maven 10-way, and then you can get another map device slot, a 6th one potentially, from clearing your first Tier 17 map. I think if they keep going along those lines and they nerf the rewards that T17s are giving out, that would help a lot. And I'm talking about tremendous nerfs. I mean the GGG triple tap, maybe double it, put it to the 6 tap, and they get rid of all those more modifiers because you're already getting so much larger pack size and so many more rewards from those powerful mods that are found on the T17 maps themselves. You already have to invest a lot into these maps with the Chaos Orb spamming and the like, And even with that, you're getting tremendous benefit. You're getting all these rewards. So you don't need to have all those more modifiers on there. I think Grinding Your Game saw that players weren't liking the T17s and the player numbers were dropping off in those first 2 weeks, so they slapped a band-aid on it and they said, okay, we're going to add all these massive rewards to tier 17 maps right now, and I think that negatively impacted everything overall. So I think there's a 50% chance all those more multipliers are gone from T17 maps in 3.25. Then another one, very simple, gonna spend 20 seconds on it, 50% chance of happening. Maybe they just disable back to basics on tier 17 maps. They don't need to remove the entire Atlas passive skill tree from T17s. Maybe they just disable the node that was the most powerful with tier 17s. If they decide to change the node entirely, that harms all those other farming strategies out there using back to basics. So I don't know what the best approach is here. Maybe they just disable it for tier 17s. Maybe they change it fundamentally. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I wasn't a big farmer with back to basics last time. I was just blasting T17s, having fun, as you've seen in the background footage. But for those of you who were blasting and farming, let me know. And then this isn't a change per se, but this is something that I would love to see with T17s, and that's new tier 17 maps. Let's add a few more into the game. Let's get some updated tile sets. Let's get some more Uber bosses going in here. I give this a 25% chance of happening. Maybe 1 or 2 new ones being added in here. I think that would be great to see. I know a lot of people hate T17s. I really enjoyed them. I liked the challenge. I liked having a Chaos Orb sync, whereas I usually didn't before. So I'm a fan if they add more tier 17s into the game, if they address some of the broader concerns that the community has raised, as I've been talking about in this video. All right, and then here's another thing that I think might happen. I give it a 75% chance of occurring, and that is T17s having their mods changed, nerfed, broadened a little bit, giving some more easy mods, right? Having mods that don't brick builds entirely, because I think that's the biggest issue that people had with T17s. It wasn't necessarily the currency farming, all the rewards you got from them. It was the build bricking modifiers that you would constantly roll, and the number of Chaos Orbs that some people seem to need to spend to get runnable tier 17 maps. So right now you can get T16 mods on the T17 maps, but you always do have some of those T17 map mods present. Maybe they slim that pool a little bit. Maybe they broaden it. They add some easy mods in there. They make some of them less build breaking and truly game changing. A lot of those mods just won't let you run the map on 90% of characters. So maybe they adjust those a little bit, and that would make people feel more comfortable running these maps and needing to invest into them, because their character that they've built for this league actually can do them with proper investment and with proper preparation. Again, 75% chance of mod changes happening for tier 17 maps. And then my final prediction, tier 17 maps just remain unchanged. Mark Roberts, the Path of Exile game director, doubles down and says, you were all wrong, I'm right, we're not making any changes with T17 maps. You will enjoy them, you will like them, you will keep farming them, and I'm not making any changes. I give that a 10% chance of happening. It's not the highest chance, it's not the lowest chance, but there is a probability that that will actually occur. All right, everyone, am I insane with these T17 map changes? Do you think these were the most controversial additions to Path of Exile in recent memory? I sure think they are, and I do think a lot of these changes will actually be implemented in 3.25. We're only about a week away, we're less than a week away from the actual announcement of 3.25. I will be live streaming it here on YouTube and on Twitch as it's happening. Would love to talk with you all about it. I'm probably live right now playing Last Epoch, so if you'd like to join, twitch.tv/talkative, I hope to see you there. If you liked the video, make sure to like it, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Lots of Path of Exile 1, PoE 2, and other general ARPG news, information, builds, lore, everything on this channel is upcoming. I'm continuing to invest into it, just as all of you are investing in me. I greatly appreciate your support. I'll see you in the next video. Talkative Exiles.